I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
And he's Brian Summer. And he's an honorary CRM player for today.
Yay, finally.
He's got
finally.
It is Brian. It is Brian because he does have Dr. Pepper. Now he is officially Brian Summer.
And to use a trite cowboy analogy, we finally roped him in.
Wow.
And it is a trite cowboy analogy.
It's kind of early out here, so we'll give you that one.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if Brian, the way the I just rolled, I don't know if he's giving it to you.
It's all right.
Oh, look who else is just rolling in. She's waving. She's smiling. She's Rebecca Wetterman.
And there she is, the player in residence, the host of The Crunch. And, of course, as Brian is, a leading industry analyst.
And you left out the most important part.
Yes, mother of Patrick.
Yeah, there you go. How are you today?
Excellent. How are you guys doing?
Wow. Groovy, man.
Excellent. I like that.
That's Bob and Ted's.
She must have gotten the morning Patrick pick.
Yeah.
She got a good what's going on there. So we're just waiting to see. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
Let me
bring
give
it in a little. There you go.
Oh yeah.
That's the "Where's my mommy?" Come on.
Yeah, it's getting close to it's time for you to come home pick. Shortly.
It's astonishing to watch that happen all the time. His picks get increasingly depressed.
Moodier.
Right,
moody. He gets moodier and moodier until she gets home each day.
All right, I'm gonna add the sounds to what's going on here. We're still in wait mode.
Well, it's 9 o'clock.
Wow, Vertiv. Okay, I almost bought their stock the other day. I'm glad I didn't because it tanked. So anyway, let me do this while this is going on. Yeah, we've been bringing the ads since 2000 AZ. I said that kind of quick.
You said as.
Okay,
you said the Z part was clearing up.
I was like, wait a minute. I got to clear this up. Anyway, since 2009. So, all right. So we're waiting for Safra's morning keynote. But at 1 p.m., I said Eastern. It's actually 1 p.m. Pacific. Larry will be doing his keynote, and we'll be back for that. And let's see what else we got. And we are actually going to be doing a CRM Playaz episode. I know this looks like a 1950s TV show promo, but it really isn't. It's just I found better black and white pictures than I found.
Father knows best.
Yeah, there it is. So that would be Rob or Hillel.
Rob's father.
Okay. So that'll be recorded. So we'll bring that to you soon after it's been recorded.
Right.
And then I think I got one thing coming up. Yeah, I'm doing a few good minutes with Sam Levy. I've never met him, but he looks like a happy guy.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That'll be later today.
Cheerful fella.
So anyway, that's all until we get the go-ahead for this morning's keynote with Safra.
Brian's reading airline schedules to see when he can get out of here.
Preparedness is absolutely key to making a quick escape from Los Angeles. Especially if you met with some guy who loaned you some money that you didn't pay back in a time.
And this is Vegas. So
this is Vegas.
And the good news is if the meme is true, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so the guy won't chase you if he can get out of town.
So does anybody have any thoughts going into this keynote? Any expectations? Anything you want to get out there before we actually see it?
I don't have a clue. I don't.
Well, I was peeking at the agenda the AR folks gave us, so it's clear we're going to hear from a couple of customers. One's a giant bank and one's a big U.S. federal agency.
Okay.
So we know we'll get that. We know we're going to hear about, it sounds like Safra's going to talk almost exclusively about customer successes, and here it is.
Okay.
It's like we're getting ready to go live here.
I'm going to be particularly interested in the government agency. I mean, the Oracle has had a presence in the federal side forever. We started with the database side and just never let it go. So they're deep into the public sector, but they don't talk that. And also in the state level, they're probably dominant.
Everybody's got a laptop open.
I don't know. It is a little odd.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing laptops like that open. You know, phones. Yeah.
It's also an interesting distance shot.
That must be a very huge screen, though. It looks like it's a couple of screens put together, actually.
I don't know.
I thought one of y'all had something like that in your own home entertainment area.
I know everything's bigger in Texas, Brian, but we don't have those screens in Georgia.
I'd literally have to buy a new house for that one.
That's some real estate.
Yeah. It's probably 300-inch screen.
I will say yesterday's CloudWorld opening was great. I don't know if this will be better, but that was really great what they did yesterday.
Data enriched by AI becomes rocket fuel for transformation. Clouds are no longer walled gardens. They're connected, open, integrated. Daily work routines become intelligent business processes. Analytics don't just tell you what happened. They predict the future. AI, embedded across industries, sparks reimagined business models and new customer experiences. Suddenly, the unbreakable barriers disappear.
That sounds like John Sterling.
Everything has changed.
Do we have to take a drink every time we mention AI?
It's not just about
Oh God, I'm out of water already.
It's about turning unimagined opportunities into remarkable outcomes. Together, we're transforming how you build, how you deliver, how you work.
Although I thought the theme yesterday around AI was a good one. Start small, think big, go fast.
Yeah.
Despite the poor grammar.
And the other thing I liked about their approach is AI it's part of what you do, right? As opposed to special and unique and changing everything in the universe. It's part of what you do.
2024.
Please welcome to the stage, Safra Catz.
Actually, getting ready to give the keynote address at a political convention, the way she walked.
Wow.
That's right. Welcome to the stage, Kamala Harris.
Welcome to CloudWorld 2024. And what an exciting moment to all be together. I'm sure many of you are thinking about your careers and all the exciting things you have done and seen. But I have to tell you, Larry and I talk, well, all the time, but we talk about this particular moment when there is no question our 47 years of Oracle are now finally all coming together with two things. One, unbelievable capabilities and technologies, and two, all of you, because you, our customers, are what brings this all together for us. Many of you have been with us for years, and I hope you have seen us change over our own cloud journey, because no longer do we just provide technology. We are now your partner in making that technology come to life. And of course, since we were founded and continue to be led by Larry Ellison, just an incredible innovator and visionary, at Oracle, you always know that the technology we built is not like everybody else's. When we built our cloud, we built it differently. We built it in a way to run faster, to run more securely, and to also give you the optionality to run it any way you want. You can run it in a private cloud. You can run it in the public cloud. You can have your own dedicated region. You can be in a sovereign cloud. You can be even in what's called an air gap cloud. You can even be on a ship. We've been able to build it so we can reach you anywhere. And of course, yesterday we announced that many of our longtime rivals are now our partners.
Yeah, well, that's
so of
true.
course, Microsoft, then Google, and now AWS. Again, going back to our roots. Remember, it was called Oracle Open World because we built our technology so that you, our customers, could run it anywhere you want. Sound familiar? And of course, our technology is our full stack, not only the platform and an AI foundation that runs so much faster than everyone else's that we have become the destination of choice. Above that, the database, autonomous database, the most incredible use of AI in the database, giving you all those capabilities. On top of that, Fusion are dozens of applications, AI and generative AI infused with incredible capabilities. And then all of our vertical applications, again, infused with all the best technologies. But that's not enough because there's the other part, our partnership with you. That's what I'm going to be showcasing today on this stage. We're going to travel a little bit around the world and meet with customers who decided that they're going to lead their technology revolution. They're not going to let it happen to them. They are going to embrace it, use it as a competitive advantage, and they've partnered with us to make success out of it. In the old days, when we sold license, we'd sell it to you, and you'd run it and work with some of our partners. But now we are your partners too. So today we're going to share a little bit of that. But before we start, you have to give me a moment to first thank my Oracle employees who have made this show and our company and everything we do possible. Thank our partners, without whom none of this would be happening. And last, but absolutely central and critical and the single most important, I want to thank you because you've not only paid and spent money to come here, but you have given to us the one thing you can't replace, and that is your time. And I want to thank you for that. Our partnership with you has allowed us to bring together our technologies with your needs and capabilities and direction to make this all possible. So thank you. I thank all of you.
Okay, so
You.
anything initially?
Nothing yet for me.
Well, for me only,
And with
I
that,
love the fact that they
since
finally
we are
figured
doing
out
a little tour
the
around
partnerships
world,
with
we're gonna
AWS and
start
Azure
right
and
here
Google Cloud,
in Las
rather than to
Vegas.
compete with them,
So
which is what they
let's
used to
kick
try to
that
do.
off
They've
with
partnered with them and
MGM
become
Resorts.
basically a framework for them, really, a
MGM
cloud with a
Resorts means
cloud
gaming and
cloud for
entertainment.
clouds.
At 31 unique hotel and
By the way,
gaming
Brian, I
locations,
guess your answer was
including some of the most
yes.
acclaimed resort brands in the industry, MGM delivers something for everyone. Best-in-class hotels and casinos, state-of-the-art business spaces, award-winning dining, and incredible live theatrical experiences.
How old is that place?
I don't have a
That
clue.
was old.
Please welcome to the stage, Bill Hornbuckle.
But they really should have the circus on there. Now that's old.
Is this guy's name Bill Hornbuckle?
That's it, Hornbuckle.
Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Didn't know we were going to get a commercial. I appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, absolutely. And we look forward to having CloudWorld at MGM in the near future. So very, very exciting.
Really?
Since we're starting
No,
here in Las
probably
Vegas,
not.
thought we would really start with
This is
Star
probably a
Las
10-year
Vegas,
contract.
And that's you.
That's how they
And
sign
you
them
have
in these
been in
agreements.
this industry
I learned that a long time ago.
really your whole career. And you have watched it change, hospitality change, the requirements change, and Las Vegas change. Share a little bit about what the future looks like here.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Las Vegas. It's been, for me, it's an amazing journey. Got here 47 years ago. It was the late 1970s.
Seems to be the
and
theme.
I saw a town with 300,000 people. Today, we're about 2.5 million people. I saw a town that was casino-centric, and with the exception of Hilton, wasn't very hospitality-centric. And over those last 4 decades,
What does that mean?
we've emerged as a resort town with the emergence of the Mirage.
Was that a dig at Hilton?
Heavy with dining. Now we have
Nah,
world-class
I don't
dining.
think so. I think it was the general statement about
We have a huge
what it was
entertainment
like back
platform.
then.
Our
Except
company
for a
alone,
Hilton
some of you, I
was.
think last night went to the
No, I don't
Sphere,
think he
which is
said
an amazing
except for
attraction.
Oh, I
No,
thought he
the
said
Hilton is always focused
But our
on
company alone has
hospitality.
29 venues, and so we consider ourselves an
Okay.
entertainment platform for business, for entertainment. Last week we had Gaga and Bruno Mars on the stage.
I'm glad we
together.
have a
So
back
who would
channel
have
that
thought
nobody else can
20
see.
years ago, who would have thought 15 years ago
That was a good
we'd ever
one.
make that happen in Las Vegas? And this group.
Tell me
here
I'm wrong,
brings
guys.
No,
Las
you're
Vegas
absolutely
today
right.
demonstrates we've
You're
become a
absolutely right.
world-class and world-renowned convention and business destination. And so the transformation's been incredible. Excited to be a part of it. I've seen much of this journey and traveled through it, and sit here today now as the CEO of one of the biggest companies. Excited by that.
Well, you're awfully modest because some of the folks out here want to hear a little bit about your career. Because though I started as a waitress, you started as a busboy.
I did.
So maybe
And
you
they were
could
at the
share
same
a
restaurant.
little bit about those 47 years and some of
So
the
she was a
lessons
waitress
you learned
out here
along
in
the way.
Vegas?
Sure.
I don't think so.
I grew up in Connecticut. And at the time, this is back in the mid-70s, you could be a bartender
Pequot.
when you were 18. So I was a bartender, and wow, this is fun.
You're a bartender at 18?
Social, it fit my persona. I said,
In
I'm going to get into the
70s,
hospitality
Connecticut, yeah.
business.
It was
And it
legal?
started,
I thought you had to be
finding
21 to
schools,
be a bartender.
UNLV being one of them.
Not them.
And I ended up out here with a couple of my colleagues and my friends. But when I got here, I was 19 and didn't realize you had to be 21 to 10 bar.
Oh, I guess
Put a
you
little
did.
Economic dent in my
Here.
pocketbook. But I started as a busboy, literally room service busboy, and just transitioned my way through the industry. Did about 15 front service jobs. Ended up then making my way through a little serendipity. I was working night audit at the then Las Vegas Hilton, which is now the Westgate. And Baron Hilton happened to walk up to the front desk at like 5 in the morning, looking for change.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
Mr. Hilton, I'd be happy to give
Baron
you change.
Hilton.
And we started to chatter. I couldn't let him get away from me. And literally 2 weeks later, I was a suit and tie back at the Flamingo. And I've been in management development in this industry, focused on Las Vegas, but we're a global company. We have places in Macau. We're building in Japan. And so it's been an amazing journey, and one
that
that,
something?
you know, we have 55,000 colleagues here. We have 80,000 colleagues in the company.
Colleagues.
And so it's a journey we all take, but it's a great journey. You know, in terms of
Everybody's a
what
partner
I've
and a
learned,
colleague.
Culture of yes is really, really important to me. Find a way to say yes to an employee.
You just
say
missed
yes
using
to
the
a
term
customer.
surf.
Even though we're large scale, we have a policy and procedure. It's about wanting
That's right.
to say
It
yes.
got banned in the
And I
15th
think the other
century. The
thing
last
that
time
served me
they
well is
used
servant
it.
leadership. I grew up in the industry, as you know. I know their job. I've done their job. We're all in this together. And to the extent we can lead with that mindset and that mentality, I think it makes for a better leader and ultimately a better organization. And so we're proud of what we've done. We're proud of where the industry is and frankly, where it's going.
It is incredible. Las Vegas, there is nothing that is not in Las Vegas. And as you know, F1 is in Las Vegas. And,
for
so
the
that
beginning
always
of a
means we're
keynote, there
around
should be a little
too.
bit more energy
There's
involved.
really nothing not here. I
I mean,
think
she's
what
a
is
good
very
interviewer.
clear, though,
She actually is very good at
hospitality and
interviewing.
gaming expectations
It just feels like you went right
going
into
up.
it. With,
Right. She jumped
And
right into the
question
Oracle.
really is,
Well, I
how do
guess
you
the
stay
idea
ahead
is
of them, and what role does technology
just like a
have?
heavy
Actually,
stamp
most all of us
on
are
the
publicly
word
traded
partner,
companies, MGM
right?
Keynote,
Was
and so
what
the
they
expectations
did basically.
are,
Every
and the question
single
is,
thing
has
she
Las
talked about
Vegas
was
reached its
partnership,
peak? The answer
one
is
way or
hell
the
no.
other. Thanks and partnership, very
Between
kumbaya
sports, no,
in
it's one
her
more
way of
thing
doing
we have
it,
created.
and
We're hot on the tails of the
which is,
NBA. We've now moved the Oakland A's
I
to
think
Las
they're really
Vegas.
trying to
We're not
lock in their
welcome in Oakland
culture a
anymore,
little
I can assure
differently
you. Between that and the
too,
Raiders,
which
but the talent
to their
continues
credit, they have changed a lot
and on the front end of
in the
that,
last
In
few
terms of
years.
presenting more collaboratively.
it is about
Yeah.
technology. When you
Yeah.
check into a place like
Really, a
Bellagio
lot
or even
more.
this hotel,
To
but I'll
their,
say
and again,
Bellagio since
to
it's
their
so
great
far.
credit.
And there's 4,000
mean-
rooms. The trick is, how do you personalize
I don't
it?
know, guys.
How
I
do you
think they're
make it feel
burying the
like your
headline
home,
here.
it's your place. We
I'm not
understand you.
getting
We
it.
want to be there for you without
Well, I
showing
don't
up
think they.
and having
I think
50
Larry's
people
going to
line
be
at
the
front
headline
desk. So
ultimately.
digital.
Does he ever speak in the
digital
morning?
concierge, digital check-in,
he
kiosk
requires his
check-in,
own.
many of the things.
Well, I
now that
even
tie
remember
to
when he would do
front
the
end
Sunday
really tie
speeches,
out
they were like
to what
6
we do with you
p.m.
all in
Yeah.
Opera.
Yeah, I'm glad they changed
We've
that, by the
changed
way.
dramatically
that was
that whole experience.
Because getting right off
Because
the
of
plane and
COVID,
heading
we
into a
pushed
keynote.
ourselves
Well,
with
I
digital
would
check-in.
get right off the
We
plane
now
and head
check
to
in
my
about
room and watch the
35% of
keynote.
our guests on their phone. They can start from the airport when they land.
No, I just said it because a lot of the keynotes,
key and the digital
they typically have a little bit more oomph
it's become a
off the bat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Agree.
it also gives better
Although the
service,
production
and
value is
if
really
done
good.
correctly, it's also less expensive to run.
Yes.
I noticed that you mentioned Opera. For those
I
of you who
noticed
don't
that
know, that's
even
actually
noticing that now that
Oracle's
we're doing all the geeky
property
stuff, even
management
noticing the
system. And
camera
we've
angles too that they were
partnered with
using.
Oh, this is so much better.
on
What
a
was the
number
one
of
where they were
different
cutting people's
ways,
heads
not
off?
only with
That was
Opera,
last
but
year.
with Fusion.
And then
maybe
the first
share a
speech,
little
they
bit
started cutting
about
heads off,
how
and then
that's
we
They
remember and obviously other
Sure.
people told them, and they fixed it by the second speech.
We, like having
This is
many large-scale
perfectly framed
organizations
up.
that grew by acquisition and by growth, by our own growth. We're green screen all of our financial systems, and so we looked at the Fusion technology, we looked at the package, and we said, count us in. We made the decision in 2018, started to deploy it in May of 2020. Good news, bad news. The good news was it enabled people to work from home, which was the first quick benefit we picked up on that, which in May of 2020 was actually a very big deal for the company. Since then, we've put the systems in full deployment. It's reduced our labor by about 25 to 30%. It's helped us obviously streamline financial systems reporting, the customization of reporting, without having to change the software itself and ultimately programming. And so it's been a huge advantage for us moving forward. And so we're excited to continue to work with that product and some of the other ones too, in terms of the cloud and some of the things coming up.
Yeah, no, it's so fun for us to be working with you. It's a segment that has just been growing and it's always fun too. I mean, there's a lot of but it's a lot of work that you all do. Now, Bill, you do not think you will get off this stage without talking about AI a little bit, okay? That is not going to
He's probably
happen.
like,
So maybe you could
Yeah.
chat with me a little bit about how AI changes the game.
Sure. I go back to what I said earlier about
If I'm
think about things like the check-in
maybe it's a little
process.
early, but
We'll get
if I'm viewing this
15 to
overall, even though
20,000
we're almost
calls a
halfway
day
through it,
for reservations
this
and
is
or
something that
information. The
should
reality
come
is
later
only
in a
20% of those
speech,
calls convert.
later in a
that's the basic
keynote,
math.
not at the
And so
start,
handling the
and
other 80%,
not start with
that front-end interaction
bam,
that's efficient,
interview.
effective.
There
We
needs
are
to be
leaning
more
and more into AI
frame built
taking on
around it.
that
To Brian's
responsibility.
point,
I think
buried
the ultimate
headline.
vision for us is
The only thing I'm dragging out of it is the partnership
and it
thing.
begins to handle it in a
Which
personalized,
is good.
customized
No,
way.
I mean I'm glad
Our
for it, but
business
at the
has
same
always been
time,
about
it's not.
at the high end of gaming. Here's an interesting stat.
It's
50%
that's more
of
of
our
a
gaming
statement
revenues
than
come
a
from
headline.
1% of our customers. So We know those 1%. We know their birthday. We know their kid's birthday. We
Maybe
know everything about them.
this feels a little
AI
bit
will
more
enable
like
us to know
a
everything about not everybody, but a lot of folks
COVID
who have been here.
kind
And
of
ultimately tailor
keynote,
experience so that when you call for a
which
girls' weekend, not like when you come for a
after
convention.
4 years of kind
We've
of
been here
what we
before.
went
We
through,
know what
just
you
feels
want,
a little.
and we can tailor it and send it to you and say, "How about
The
we
energy
book this
just
for
doesn't
you?"
feel like
And
it's
then the
there
ultimate
right now.
dream is it books it on through. And so it just takes all that.
It would be great to
friction,
find out what's going
reduces
on,
it.
like what
Something we're excited by.
the room is
You know,
feeling
I
like.
know a lot of industry worried about AI. We embrace it. We love
But
it.
they're not
We're
even
looking
showing
forward
the audience at all, not
You
even a
see,
quick view.
that's really the difference between success and failure. A CEO who embraces this, who wants to get ahead of it, who wants to use it as a competitive advantage and lead with it, versus one who's afraid of it and wants to just keep things the old way. I mean, that's the reason you've been so successful. Starting as, okay, I didn't give you enough credit, bartender, then demoted to busboy, but made your way
Wow.
back. So we're all very proud.
That's not
Thank
fair.
you for joining
Thank you for
us.
having me.
Thank you for
Thank you.
welcoming us
Welcome
here.
back.
He
Thank
wasn't
you.
demoted. He couldn't get a different job. He couldn't get a bartender's job. What did he want?
It was legally.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's a quick.
Next, we actually have a customer that is very special to Oracle. And some
As
of
opposed
you
to
are
what?
gonna
The guy
know
you just
why.
had?
Please join me in welcoming the CIA.
Whoa.
Okay. They're running
Simply put,
security here.
The CIA is America's first line of defense. The global intelligence it provides helps leaders make decisions that protect and bolster
Now
national
this is a
security.
smart one.
And its mission is straightforward.
Sexy
Use the
customer.
power of information to keep the nation safe. Throughout its history, the CIA has pioneered bold technology solutions that have helped solve
I'm
America's
impressed the
biggest
CIA is willing to just
intelligence
get on the
challenges.
stage and talk about anything.
No, there'll be a
Please
bunch of
welcome
no
to the stage,
comments, or I
Lynette
cannot
Or
just.
actually, it'll turn out to be the Culinary Institute. CIA, that one. That's CIA.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
What's
you
her
so
name?
much for having me, Safra. It's our
They're not going
honor.
to tell us.
No, it's
What is it?
Well, it's
most
it's
of
flashed
you
up Latasha
probably
something,
do
I
not
believe.
know
I couldn't hear it.
that the Central Intelligence Agency
Nice
is
sneakers.
Oracle's first customer, and without
$200
which we wouldn't even be here. And we view the mission of keeping the world safe as our single, really our top mission. It is hard to believe it was 1977, and we are
We're back to that.
still working together.
Absolutely.
And it is.
They've been working with the CIA since
such an
77.
honor to have you up
Right,
here. I
easily.
think you heard
It's
the
like one of
screaming
Riley's
when,
first
when
accounts.
we mentioned you.
That's their
And,
entire career, the entire
It's
existence
not
of the
like the
company.
CIA's job has gotten smaller. So
Hmm.
maybe you could share a little bit about really your thoughts
It would be
on
funny if you
handling
said, no, I
global
can't share
threats and
anything.
I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I want to say this is an immense honor and privilege for CIA to be
There we
here
go.
in this
Lanaya
capacity. As
Okay.
you mentioned,
Lanaya Jones.
Oracle was founded
CIO.
by CIA
Wow.
in 1977, and look where we are today.
That's cool.
And so for us, it's full circle. And although I'm here, I represent the thousands and millions of people across the intelligence community and across the Department of Defense in the global mission of keeping us safe for national security. And so just want to say thank you on that. You asked, what is it that keeps us together and keeps us up?
Oracle is really
First
good
and
at
foremost,
big
I want to
things.
highlight security.
Like just presenting the word big.
We realize in this mission that this is a shared mission space. It's too big, too hard for us to do by ourselves. And so we welcome the partnership. We are absolutely enthused that security is just as important to Oracle as it is to CIA, as well as the intelligence community. We do all we can in order to keep the nation safe, to lead the way. We want the best, the brightest technology, the best solutions to be able to do that. And we appreciate having a partner such as yours that help us to perform that journey. And so We talk about the conflict readiness and the global resiliency. The CIA is all over. And so with that being the case, we need a global partner to be a part of that mission.
I'll tell you, for us, it is our greatest honor, and I thank you back. I am sort of drawn back to your career, and I think about it. You were a database administrator, and so you have been on the
Oracle
ground
DBA.
floor of just watching the importance of data increase. And so maybe you could just share
One
a
of my
little
earlier
bit with our
jobs was
group how
we had
you're
a whole
using
team of like
data,
150
Oracle
Oracle DBAs that we would
technology, and
basically put
really
into government
keeping us all
agencies.
safe.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned,
Maybe she is
Safra,
one.
I humbly started as a database administrator.
No, I don't think so.
And who would imagine
It's
that I would be
90%,
here
95%
today speaking
Indian.
with you? And so I think that is just a testament of how
There's an
powerful and
interesting theme
transformative
here about people
technology is and
starting
how it's
and working
changed
their way
everything
up
we
with
do.
Oracle.
There isn't any aspect of
Yeah,
the
right.
world from
47 years
innovation
forward.
to a disruptiveness that technology is not a part of.
Right,
It's
but we've
changed
now
the way
got
we
two
work,
people who
the way
started
we
at low
lived,
level positions
the
and
way
it,
that we do our day-to-day
Yep.
missions,
progressed
right?
with Oracle.
And so we look at that at
Well,
the
you know,
CIA as
it's always a
part of
wise
every
move
facet
to
and aspect
say
of
your
everything we
career
do,
can
from
tying your career.
finances to human
I
resources
can't think.
to
I'm
the
blocking the
mission
name of the company. They
space
got
to being
acquired. They were a Sequoia
ignored
company.
to denied access
But the
areas
CEO
to,
Shashi
you mentioned being
of this
on a
company,
ship,
it'll
from
come to
our
me. But
soldiers and our
they used
sailors
to
and our
on their
airmen to
website
everything
talk
we
about
do.
two
And
things.
so
One, we
again
got
look
this
at that
level
as
of
an
improvement
opportunity
using
to be able
this
to bring them the best
in our
technology,
company.
the best
And the other
solutions,
thing they had
the
was
best
testimonies from
data
people who
as
said, I was
quickly as
promoted to vice
possible to
president
make the
because
best
of this.
intelligence decisions
And
for
they
the
were the
mission.
first company I ever saw to
Now,
do
when
that,
you
and it was
speak, it
brilliant.
resonates so deeply for me
Because
because our
ultimately,
mission at
self-interest
Oracle
does
is
govern a
making
lot of this.
sure that
Right.
you never have to compromise, that you always have the best, that you have access, whether you need it in a super
What's the company?
classified, disconnected, like all those capabilities. We never want you to have to compromise because, frankly, I'm not sure our adversaries are compromising. They're taking and looking and using, and we've got to always be way better with them. And it's not only the ones way out on the field, it's also the people running the enterprises. Maybe since we haven't cleared all of you, you could share a little bit about how you're, creating experiences for your people that really help efficiency so you can direct your resources where you need them.
Absolutely. And so you started out talking about data, right? It's no secret that data analysts, data scientists, and the way that we want to use data to help to augment our intelligence decisions has evolved, right? Through generative AI. And so we talk about the cybersecurity aspect. That's one line of business that we absolutely want to use the data to help make better insights into what's going on with our adversaries and to prepare to reduce the attack vector for the amount of vulnerabilities available. So let's talk about security from that aspect. One thing that we've seen from a shift is over the past 10 to 15 years, it's moved from more of a kinetic to
I
more
like
of a
that slow pan
cybersecurity
they're
mission,
doing.
right? The cyber landscape every day is evolving and getting worse and worse. And so we want to be able to have the data to make data-driven decisions, whether it be for the enterprise, for larger landscapes all around the world, and even for locations that might be one or two people, but we want to make sure that they have the best in order to keep them safe and bring them back home. And so that's one piece of it. I talked about how the data, we used it from an old school database, but now it wouldn't be fair to have any type of event and not talk about generative AI. We in the intelligence community and the defense landscape want to be able to use generative AI as well. It can help to augment our missions all across many sectors. Everything we do from logistics to supply chain to cyber to finance to human resources, we want to be able to have that to help augment everything we do. And so I feel as though from that aspect, we're no different than others. We want the translation capabilities. We want to be able to, through the summarization, we want to be able to have the rapid data and inferences to look at vast amounts of raw data in very different forms and all over, and be able to make logic of that in a much faster realm. And so we have the same challenges as the commercial, and that's one thing that we always look to try to have in our classified spaces as best as possible, parity, to have the latest and the greatest in the spaces that we need it the most.
I'll tell you, you are our design point. Some of our colleagues out here know that we have an everything everywhere policy, that in fact, unless it's available all the way in a classified disconnected region, we don't even consider it GA, because you are our toughest customers and you teach us so much. And so the fact that you're forward leaning, looking at over the horizon in what should be next, because frankly, you have the most important mission, keeping the world safe. And you and your colleagues in defense, very important to us. And we thank you. We thank you for partnering with us. And we look forward to, well, I don't want
I
to
mean,
say
look,
the
it's a
next
good choice of
47
customers, but
years.
it's
Some of us may be
not doing the
beating
job
them
of a
back.
keynote.
But definitely, thank you. Thank you
Maybe
for
this is
the
really
Central Intelligence Agency.
the
And thank
keynote.
you
Keynote is
for
Larry.
being
Yeah.
so forward.
This
I mean,
is
this is
very,
such a
this is
wonderful
very, very
partner.
measured.
Thank you so
Thank
very,
you
Yeah,
so
very
much.
much.
exactly.
Our pleasure.
It's
Thank
establishing
you.
certain things like we're important. We do big things that are important. Your career is important to us, and we're all partners in
You can
this.
see I'm having fun. So,
Well, and
Yes,
I
I'm-
think the
well,
news
next,
breaking one is going to be
I'm
Larry
excited
announcing
to
stuff
hear
in his.
not from just
He doesn't seem
one
like he's
speaker,
announcing anything.
but
Just
two
kind of setting
from
the stage with a lot of great
BNP Paribas Group
customer
about
kind of
how they've
conversation.
done so much with technology
Yeah,
and
but
how
this
they've
is
never
really is,
taken their focus off
again, I'll say what I said
security
earlier. This is
and
part of a
data
keynote, not a
protection
keynote.
while moving into
Right.
the future.
Well, I think they're breaking it into.
I know, but Larry should be
No
first
matter
in
where
that
you
case.
live
But I
or the
guess that's
places
just
you
not the
visit,
way he
you
rolls.
won't have to look very far
Nah,
to find a
I don't think he
BNP
rolls like that.
Paribas bank. The EU's leading bank has a presence in more than 60 countries, offering a full slate of personal,
This is
investment,
BNP
and corporate
Paribas.
banking. Not
Yeah.
to mention, it's
Paribas.
also a good citizen.
Paribas.
In 2023, BNP
Paribas.
Paribas was named World's
Paribas.
Best Bank for Sustainable
Paribas.
Finance at the Euromoney Awards.
I was up for a
Welcome to
Euro
stage
Money Award, but
Bernard
I was
Gavgani
broke.
and Jean-Yves Pillion.
There's some tough music there. If you feel like you could hit somebody here.
See, I'm getting to see all my friends today.
Jean-Yves
So,
Fillion.
thank you. Thank
Jean-Yves
you,
Fillion.
Bernard and
BNP
Jean,
Paribas.
for joining us.
Paribas.
Thank you for having us.
You say it 3 times, he appears.
Pleasure to be here.
Paribas,
On
Paribas,
behalf of
Paribas.
Bernard and I, it's a privilege, and we're thrilled, excited to really share the continuing journey between Oracle and BNP Paribas. You've seen the video, and
Brian, you seem so excited.
Bank for a changing world. I can tell you, there is no way.
I could drink a railroad tanker full of Dr. Pepper, and I don't know if it would get my excitement up even more beyond where it is
And I
right
have
now.
to say, the recent expansion of our partnership and the bank joining the cloud is an amazing, critical step
Yeah,
in that
I will
direction.
say it does. I
Safra,
think
if
you're
I
right.
may,
Part of a keynote,
we've known each
especially
other
a
for a
morning
long
keynote, is
time.
to kind of
We believe,
rev
and I
things up a
believe
bit.
we've developed.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with what's being said, and to
where,
Rebecca's point,
we at
they're
BNP
basically they're
benefit from
establishing
your amazing services,
measured
innovative
themes,
skills,
which they are,
hopefully on your
and
side,
I
you
get it,
benefit from
and I get
our
what the
global
themes are,
coverage and
but
world-class
just in
products.
the
I want
interest
to share
of,
that we
you know,
There's not a
cover
high energy component to
Oracle
this.
no,
in
not at
over
all,
80
and that's
countries,
actually always a
in
mistake
16
because it's a
different
conference.
currencies, on behalf of 37
You
of
take
your
into account
entities
the
worldwide.
psychology, social psychology
I,
of the whole thing, and that's
beyond
not
this
accounted for
global
here,
coverage, by the way, just to give you a sense,
at least not by
we
the
have the privilege
lack
to
of
serve
energy.
you in a broad array of product solutions such as cash management and trade services, but fleet management, vendor financing.
And the other thing they are establishing is Oracle's
lending, as
complete
well as
range of
access to the capital
end-to-end,
markets.
which
Then
they've
we're
been
so
doing a pretty
proud
good job of lately
to
anyway.
be an important client to Oracle, but we're equally proud that this
Yeah, I guess my challenge
has developed into, I continue,
is
one of the
Bless
most
you.
strategic
they are so big
relationships for
and
the bank
have their fingers in so many different pies,
and around the world.
and that
I will tell you that
I
for
think
us,
we all
it
know
is the
that.
model of
I
a
think
real
really what we
partnership
want
where
is we want to hear more of the
everyone
proof points,
benefits.
not
The
our
leadership
being
you all
sold.
show comes
Yep.
to our benefit. You see,
Yeah.
all of the technologies and
This is just more,
capabilities we couldn't actually
I guess,
operate
from your
without
standpoint,
you.
is
And that's
more
the
kind of
real partnership, because
establishing
it's no longer
the
vendor
customers who are
and
part of what
customer.
we know.
It is true partnership, and it is constantly improving capabilities.
It's
And
interesting
so
too
for
that
us,
Oracle has moved
I
away
mean, when
from
I
what used to
see
be the sort of
any
keynote where you
story
always had, you know, a
or I
dancing
go
bear
back,
or
okay, I'm
a
always like
DJ
so
or something like
proud
that at the
because I
beginning,
also
or
know
Yep.
acrobats
that
or
we're
whatever.
part of your
The other thing they're
success.
not talking
And
about
so,
at
as both
all
a customer
is
and a
platform.
technology partner, so it's just
This is
thrilling.
all
And frankly, I
ecosystem
feel the
level,
same
not
way
platform
with
level.
many of our
Yeah.
customers here because
It's all
you're
solution,
successful
end-to-end
and
solution,
you're successful.
right? As opposed
And
to
I think
we're a
maybe
platform.
I would like to share, because one of the reasons we've worked so well together is because you
I
are
wonder
so
if Oracle AR
forward-looking.
is monitoring
And
us.
just a few years ago, you laid out a comprehensive strategic plan. And I think that's going to be very, very helpful for others to learn about how you came to that decision and sort of what were the central pillars of that plan. Because I have a feeling a few people may copy those.
But Safra, by the way, we love when you go by the bank. We love when you visit. And what you just
To her
mentioned
credit,
knows
she
how
really is a
deep
good
and well you
interviewer,
know
though.
BNP Paribas.
Every time I hear
Well,
her, I'm
the
impressed
strategy
with
is
her
around
interview skill.
growth, technology, and sustainability. You know, growth for us is to continue to further drive our leadership position in EMEA, but not only, is to realize our aspirations to become the lead bank for corporates in North America. Sustainability, it's part of our mission, it's core to our values. But by the way, Safra, it's exactly the same thing for you and Oracle. I know it's critical to your thought process, your actions, and we have this dimension in common. But obviously, now the pillar of technology, which is the discussion today, under Bernard's guidance and leadership, the bank has continued to invest in infrastructure, in technology. And by the way, as I mentioned earlier, the recent agreement we just have with Oracle and basically join your cloud is a perfect illustration of that. Then, speaking of the expansion plan and growth plan, there is no way we could achieve that, no chance, without having a strong commitment and dedication to foundations and the proper foundations in technology, and you are a critical partner in this dimension.
Well, you've hit on one of my favorite subjects, technology, and that's Bernard's favorite too. And it is absolutely true that you have led this technology innovation and direction. Maybe you could share with our audience a little bit about what you were trying to solve for and how to really bring it to fruition and success.
Thank you, Safra. The technology is the heart of our business model. As the leading the bank in Europe and growing our presence in the US and APAC. This is our plan to continue to improve our speed execution and be compliant with the regulations in order to all the time commit with our regulators both in the US and in Europe. But let me take a few minutes to explain the rationale of the reason why we have moved or moving a few workloads to your cloud, and the way I am expecting to improve the management of the huge data that we are we have in the bank. The first objective is to provide the best solution to our customers by gathering all of the databases that we have, more than 10,000 databases in one single area, simplifying the tools and managing this in one way. So it's the huge benefit that we are getting from that. And as you say, the beauty of this solution is that
does Oracle have any interest in mid-sized or small customers at all?
Used to.
I just don't hear anything about that ever at all, ever.
Added value around this, time to market resilience.
Does anybody have any clue on this?
And so on.
They used to. I remember years ago speaking to the guy that was in charge of the SMBs.
Your team and yourself, because
you
took
they've
your
got
time
NetSuite
to study with us.
That's true.
To understand
Yeah, that's upper
the
end
strategy of our
mid-market.
system.
But what about
Exactly
like
the area that
where
you could
companies
bring
like
the added
Sales
value
Logic
to our
used
value
to be, for
propositions,
example,
and
that level?
it has been done. And Safra, once again, thank you so much for your
The
personal
lower kind
involvement.
of mid-markets,
Without your
upper end of
involvement,
small
we
business.
would not be here to discuss together.
I mean,
Thank you.
We heard about that a lot
Kind.
with the
It is
beginning
a
of Fusion
pleasure.
apps.
It is
because
truly
they
a
could
pleasure. It
support
is kind of what we live for
for
around here.
the
And,
broader
your
enterprise
success
complexity and stuff,
is,
but maybe that's
really
not focused now.
what we
Yeah,
cherish.
I mean, right now they're
Now,
just
Bernard,
this
as
is
the
all
technology expert up here,
very big.
you know
Everything
I'm
is
going to
very,
want to talk
very
a little bit
big.
about
To
AI
Rebecca's point,
and
it seems like
security
a lot of the
and all the things that
SMB talk that I remember
you
hearing
are
actually kind of
constantly
went away
thinking
when they
about.
bought
So maybe share a
NetSuite.
little bit about
And I
your
think
Yeah.
everyone's
vision
looking
and
at
what
them
you're
as
doing,
saying that.
and give ideas to our colleagues
They
here.
did
I've
say
been-
they just
So
crossed
all
the
the large
40,000
companies
customer
are,
base on NetSuite.
beginning to shift.
I've
been
never
doing
seen
these
net.
for-
What, Brian?
To the
I've been doing these
AI in
shows for
rational and
ages,
industrial
and
way.
in the
It
original
is true
ones,
that
most of what
the
you heard
companies,
was
they know
Larry
is
and
not new
others
AI
talking
in a
about
large
the
companies.
database, and that was
What
it. Even
is
though they had
today
application software,
challenging for
the
everyone
conversation was
is
almost
to scale up
exclusively around the
this,
database and related
their
tools.
solutions.
And then
find
over
and
time, they
define
got to
the
talking more and
right
more about
use
the apps.
cases.
The apps became
BNP
didn't really
Paribas,
become even
we
relevant
have
until
more than 700
after 2004
use cases
when they bought
already up and
Katie
running
Edwards'
in the
Seagull
different
and
area
others.
for the customers'
And
satisfaction.
It's
for
interesting,
the,
not once have we heard
payment,
anything really
unusual
this morning
for
about any of the
corporate customers,
applications. Nothing.
for the
And
Or
compliance
the database for that matter.
and or anti-money laundering
Well,
and
to
fraud.
Paul's point,
But the most important part
I don't have
I
exact
see
numbers
is
here,
the
but in the
really
ballpark, I
added
think they had
value
about
of AI
20,000
for IT,
EBS
for
customers.
IT.
I have no idea how many
Thanks to
JD
the
Edwards
AI in the years
customers
coming,
had. I don't know how many are
able
left
to
now.
improve more
But,
and more
on a customer count basis,
products or
it's a mistake
applications
to ignore
in
all
order
those
to
customers.
satisfy
But
more
from
and
a
more our
total
customers.
users or the dollars in revenue you can chase from
Same time, this is
bagging
the
somebody's
cyber and
with
cybersecurity.
Paribas
But I know that the
CIA,
AI
yeah,
will
those are
bring
gigantic
us
accounts.
added
I
value.
think
At
you're
the
right.
same
It
time,
may be a
raise the
mistake
risk
to
of
solely focus
cybersecurity
on these
that we are
mega
going
clients.
to, we are
I
working
think
on this.
to the
And I
detriment
am
of
sure
others.
that between
Kind of why I was
people
raising the
and
point,
Paribas
really. I
will
mean,
learn from
I
this one.
look,
Very
Oracle and
successful.
Big have been
In
associated
fact, Larry
forever
even
and
talked
kind
about
of
that
get
on
it.
our earnings announcement last night. So
But
it's
they
very,
do,
very
to your
true.
point, and the other
Again,
side on the
what it
mid-market,
is about
ultimately
getting
on
in front
public
of it,
sector, if you look at
leading. I
any
mean, you said
state,
100 different
and Oracle has a
projects. I mean,
strong
this
presence
is
in
all about
states and
making
has
sure
for 2
you're ahead
decades.
of it, so it doesn't happen to you.
That's a
that you're
mid-market
leading.
customer.
And
They are
that's
not,
why you've been
they're
so
not enterprise
successful.
sized at any
Well,
state,
finally,
and
Johnny,
maybe
if
a
we
couple of the
talk
states
a little
in terms of
bit
the infrastructure they
about
need,
our
like
partnership
New York
and
or
how long we've been
California or
working
something.
together.
But
But
most of the states are
I'm
the
sure he
equivalent of
mentioned
mid-market
all of
in
it.
terms of
Was there something
Oracle
else you
presence,
wanted
and
to share?
As
that's
always, you listen very carefully.
that's a way to bring it
Safra.
in. I
one
mean,
word, tennis.
their presence at the state
Tennis
level
why?
is
Tennis
powerful,
because, let me give you some context.
but they don't even acknowledge it, really.
Was a very proud title sponsor of a tennis tournament.
Never understood that part.
At Indian Wells. It's called the BNP Paribas Open.
Years and years ago, when I first started out, I used to work with people at Oracle Federal and Oracle State, and I had done a bunch of projects with those guys, and they were remarkable at the work they were doing. I mean, it was fantastic work. And each of the big consulting firms had Oracle practices for state and federal.
By the way, for whoever's been there, Larry has built an amazing venue. Players love it, fans love it. It's become the 5th major. Then what a unique experience that we've lived together. But beyond the lines, if I may say, beyond the baseline, what we did together, we've extended our support to the youth in the Coachella Valley, providing actually scholarships to deserving high school seniors and sending them to the best schools, colleges in California. And it's another important dimension we have together, dimension of this partnership, which I believe we will take further, because I know you believe, we believe in actually, we are dedicated to positively impact the community we live in. Then, in short, Larry, thank you so much. Safra, thank you so much. The whole Oracle family, thank you so much. And by the way, we want to see you all at
in this sort of muted way, a very kumbaya session.
A big stadium
Thank you,
that
thank
we can
you,
host
thank you, thank you.
any one of you. Thank you.
Well, thank
You're welcome.
you. We've obviously been invited, so we should take him up on that. I will say
He's also doing a lot of this.
it is the perfect example of partnership and Larry Ellison's vision, and it is very much what has happened.
Are they
here
playing
at
the music to
Oracle.
let her know it's time
It
to
was
go?
not a big
I don't know.
tournament, and it's now
She had an
become
hour.
enormous and successful.
Got 10
And
minutes.
I
The
think
next
some
thing.
of you know
Oh
that
yeah, probably.
not everyone was betting on Oracle to cross the chasm and be such a leader in the cloud that now we are in everybody's clouds.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's because
again,
you were
the
super
vision,
smart
the
on that
capability,
strategy to
and
me,
the never
personally.
compromising
I just thought that was
good enough, always making
finally
sure
figuring that out.
the best. I cherish our partnership. Thank you both. Thank you.
Well, to Larry's credit, remember he had his own line of
Thank you very much.
internet computing devices, not the NQ, but that was it.
So
He was
let's
pretty
see.
big on the internet eons ago. And he made the investment in NetSuite, personal money.
I'm now.
Yeah.
So we've
Well, but
seen
there, the network computer, his network
Yeah,
computer.
the network.
I love that thing when he proposed it. Again, to Ellison's credit, as much as I've had ups and downs liking him at all, he's a visionary and has always been a visionary. And when he has his visions, actually like get results. Which is not. He doesn't just like dream. He figures these things out. His last year's speech was by far the greatest thing he's ever done, and it was really all of him in play.
Let's hear from Cloudflare.
Cloudflare
it's going to
is
be
the
tough to
leading
top it this
connectivity
year.
cloud company on a mission to help build a better internet. Powered by one of the world's largest and most interconnected networks,
At least their video montages for their customers have been
Yeah.
day.
Oh yeah.
Trusted by
Production's
millions
been
of
fine.
organizations, from the largest
A little bit
brands
lacking
to
in the
entrepreneurs and small businesses to
interviews.
non-profits, humanitarian groups, and governments
But
across the globe.
I would have cut to the audience a
Cloudflare
little
helps
more
connect,
here and there.
protect, and
But
build everywhere, giving customers the control
Well,
they
like I
need
said,
to accelerate their business.
there really hasn't been any integration of the crowd into the keynote.
no, and I'd still love to get to your point, an explanation as to why there were so many laptops open in that picture.
Thank you.
Michelle,
Boy, look at that energy out in that
Right.
audience.
It's
I
very
know.
exciting here to have
I know.
younger
Better get them some
technology
Dr. Pepper,
company,
man.
not
They're
one
not even
47 years
there.
old like
Not
us.
yet, anyway.
Not yet. Not
Working on
yet.
it.
And I know you have many customers in the room, but not every one of them is one of your customers. So why don't you take a minute to really introduce Cloudflare to this entire room?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's such a privilege. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle. I'm one of the founders of a company called Cloudflare, and we call ourselves a connectivity cloud. What does that mean? Well, actually, we're hearing about so many businesses today that are moving.
She brings a
from
little bit
how they
more
used to do
energy and
business to a more modern
Well, the other
world.
guys were older
And
business
some of it's
people,
on-premise,
basically,
some of it's
except
in
for
the
the CIA lady who
something
was,
to connect
and she was
all of
pretty
that.
energetic
Somewhere
too.
to
But
control your security,
she's got a little
somewhere to
bit
think
more.
about performance, somewhere to think about privacy for your users and employees, and of course, resilience. And that's really the connectivity cloud. That's what
Well, we
Cloudflare
just finished
offers.
my bingo buzz card right now.
Small and large around the world.
They
to
said
ensure that
resilience. All
their
right,
applications
we're
are
done.
protected,
And
We're
agility.
done,
employees are
and my
protected
work
through
is
Zero Trust
done.
platform, and that they're enabled to do whatever they need to do in this modern world. A little bit of a fun fact. Yesterday, we stopped 157 billion, with the B, cyber attacks on behalf of all
That's
of our
a fun
customers. We
fact?
work with millions of businesses
That
around
isn't
the world.
fun.
That means, if you do the math, about
A
100
billion?
million cyber attacks we
I
helped
mean, I'm
stop
glad they did.
automatically without any human intervention
not
since I
fun.
walked on stage. And I think that is the power of modern technology today, and what's left to be done.
Well,
But
and I can tell you one
given
thing.
that that's, I
it's
guess,
not
a
getting
very small
safer out
portion,
there. And
that's
so
scary.
more and more responsibility falls on companies like you and us. And I think one of the things, excuse me, that means a lot.
All that talking will get to you.
Yeah, she's having a cyber attack.
That's right.
It's been an entertaining
She's
show.
drowning the
Thank you.
attack. She drowned the attacker.
Fun for me. I apologize.
Denied its service.
That's right.
As
Denial
I
of service.
mentioned, we're
Pour
always
water
thrilled
down your
when a
larynx.
customer picks us, always. But when it's a really technical, really good expert in a field, when they pick us, it means even more. It really makes us want to share that. Would you mind sharing a little bit about why you picked OCI and some of the benefits you've seen?
Absolutely. Well, one of the best parts of my job is I get to work with companies around the world. And one thing that keeps coming up more and more is I see so many more companies choosing OCI. And I think it's for so many different reasons. All the things that you've been talking about today, the performance, the built for performance, the security posture, how Oracle has this huge legacy, but you're just so modern. And I think one thing that has not come up since I've been on stage is how innovative Oracle has been and how innovative the OCI team is, bringing new ideas to the market for their customers. Of course, you want to be all the I's dotted and T's crossed for customers like the CIA, but you also want to be nimble and agile in this very dynamic world where things are moving all the time. And so one thing that I see with companies is about over 50% of companies today have a multi-cloud setup, and it's only increasing by the week. 5 years ago, that was not the case. 5 years ago, the state of affairs was, hey, I'm going to pick one cloud. I'm going to go on and on one cloud. That's just not realistic. And so in this multi-cloud world, you want to be able to mix and match the best features depending on the
I think she's trying to get her company sold to Oracle.
Just out there doing so much in the marketplace.
Well, in a certain
Last
weird
thing I'll just say, which I
way,
think is
it
really interesting
makes
and is
complete
becoming
sense.
more important in this next inning
I mean,
operating in today's
when she
modern
announced
world
what they
is
called themselves, the
how you
connectivity
describe
cloud,
yourself as,
I
price-
was thinking, well,
price
isn't that
over
what Oracle's
performance,
doing
which I think is really important.
with their
We, for
cloud?
all,
They're
every business
taking all the
is
other
under pressure
clouds
to say,
and
hey, how do I
bring
do
them
things
under the
more
umbrella.
efficiently so I can go take those savings
I guess
and
they're
reinvest them
surrounding
back
and
in
running
other
through the
parts
other
of our
clouds.
business, whether it's AI or building products.
Has
for
Oracle had
customers.
any
And so I
big
think
acquisitions
those are
since
some
the
of the things that
CERN
we've
one?
really seen, both
No.
at Cloudflare,
I
but
don't
more
think they can
broadly in the
afford it.
industry
That was
about
30
why
billion.
more businesses
Yeah.
are moving to OCI.
Well, thank you. That is
I know
really very,
Salesforce
very
seems to be
kind.
back in the
I will tell
acquisition
you
mode of
that
small
I feel
companies.
like we very much
Yep.
share this common
Didn't
mission.
somebody else just announce buying an
Multi-cloud,
AI
giving our
company of sorts?
customers choice.
Didn't Salesforce
Thinking
just buy some
about
Maybe it was
small one?
security
Yeah, it was
all
a small
the
AI
time,
company called
and especially
uh,
in
10.
security in
Yeah.
multi-cloud.
Some
Maybe
Tenny
you
or
could
I don't know.
share
That's a
with
funny
this
name.
group a little
Tinny.
bit of some of the
Tenny.
innovative things you're doing in that exact area.
Yes, thank you. Well, in this world, now we're in this place where, okay, I am working with multiple clouds. I have some things maybe on premise still, but then there's these places where I have different workloads running in different places. How do I stitch it all together? Well, this is again where you need a connectivity cloud. So you have one integrated platform to have this security posture and visibility. It's a way to kind of add simplicity to what's going on in the background.
So
right?
they
you
they
don't
literally
have
could
to
be
know in the
a
background yet, but you can have this
an
layer of
inserted
security
feature
sitting in
into
front,
Oracle's cloud platform.
to say, okay, I
Yeah.
want to make sure I'm protected from the latest attacks. I want to make sure
And it would
everything
make,
is
you know
fine.
what, to your
Whether
point,
my
Brian, it would
customer's
make
coming
complete
from
sense for Oracle
Santiago,
to
Chile,
acquire
which is
them.
I know where your next customer is from, or if they're in Riyadh,
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. You
We'll
want to make
see
sure
her
that it's
again
fast
next
and
year on the
friendly
next
because we have
keynote.
business all our
Right.
customers and eyeballs all around the world.
Matter of
And it's
fact,
really
And
by
the
the
we have
time
idea
she
some-
walks off the stage,
of
there'll be a
being
done deal.
connected globally, but also the power of running your business.
They were just waiting for the
And I
four of
think
us
that
to
that's
approve
really
the
where
deal.
It's interesting to see this new modern day where businesses have to operate in to see which organizations are partnering together. Because it's not just one company that's going to offer all of this. You have to partner. And I think it's
Well,
been
I get some friends and
amazing
family
working
stock
with
for this
Oracle in this
idea.
way of saying, hey, let's partner to bring it better, make it better for end customers around the world, and really enable all these businesses to say, let me pick and choose the best of any world I need.
See, again, the focus on the customer, the focus on partnering. That is the new reality, and that is what leads to success. When I think
Really
about
partnering
some of the
is the
things
key word
you're
this
doing,
morning.
I mean, you're
Yeah, it
growing
is.
so fast, you're moving
Partner.
forward. Maybe you could share a little bit
Everything's
about what's
partnering.
next for Cloudflare.
Collaboration,
Well, you
partner.
said
No,
focus on customers.
partner
we are
and
also
thank you.
intensely focused on customers. I could not
And
agree
this.
more. Customers and
Can they
partnering
spell
is
it the way they
really,
do in
those are the
Texas with
two
a
key
D
words in
instead
today's
of a T?
P-A-R-D-N-E-R. Partner.
And
Yeah.
so when we
Hey,
think
partner.
about our customers, we're thinking about, okay,
Partner.
where are they working and how are they working?
P-A-R-D-U-H.
And so with the where, it's
No,
interesting.
N-U-H.
So the world is,
Partner.
there's so many
I
multinational
always see
national
Safra say
businesses in
howdy.
this room. When you just look at countries around the world, 71%
I don't think we'll be seeing
have
that
passed
ever in
the
life.
No.
data localization law in the last 3 years. 71% of countries, and there's another about 10% that are about to pass laws. So you
she
might
Canadian?
be the best at running a
She said
business, a
about.
multinational business, but you might not be the best at keeping up with the public policy of what's going on around the world. So there's just a lot happening in data localization and privacy. And so for the where we work for our customers, we're saying Cloudflare runs a global network. We're in over 120 countries. We're in 330 cities around the world. How do you meet your data privacy local laws while still being global? And I know that's something we really share with Oracle.
Well, to their
and that
credit, they sound like
we
an
enable
incredibly
this together,
smart
and that's
company,
something
if
that
nothing
more
else.
businesses need every day because they want to be global, but meet their local needs. On the how people work, I mean, it's been about 7 minutes since the word AI has come up, so let's make sure we touch on it one last time. It's if you cannot be a business today thinking about, okay, how are we going to use Gen AI to make my business more efficient? And I think it's incredible what OCI is offering to be where you run your models and do all the training.
And the other thing I will give Oracle credit for this morning is their distinct desire to not particularly mention AI except as it happens to come up in a conversation, as opposed to making it a theme.
It's like it's just embedded in the flow of work.
Which is once again, to your point, there's a number of meaningful themes established by this, but they're all unspoken.
Well, she did ask the MGM guy specifically about it, but I don't think she did that for everybody.
No. No, and when there's a specific reason for it, sure, but that's, again, and that was, if you think about it, that was Steve Moran. It's everybody. That's how they talk about it right now.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for joining
AI
us
is part
today.
of what you do.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a
We're
pleasure.
coming
Thank you.
to the end of this one.
Yep. Let's see if they end on time.
Okay, well, our tour around the world and
They
in
did.
multiple industries continues. I'm excited
no.
to hear
Nope.
from Intel, Chile's largest telecommunications company, an industry that is
Oh, it must not be Intel.
changing.
They can't
Right.
end with
Tell you
Latin
about their
customers.
move
No.
into the cloud.
That was Intel
From
spelled here.
Antarctica, Easter Island, and every corner of Chile and Peru, as the leading telecom in South America, Intel enables more than 20 million customers to communicate today.
What was her
Intel has
name?
strived for 60 years to bring the infinite possibilities of technology closer to people, accompanying each one in their important moments of their lives, connecting them to their dreams, community, and supporting business growth.
Oh, what was her name?
Please welcome to the stage Antonio Behe.
Audience still doesn't seem too energized. Need to get a coffee cart and push it down aisles and folks up with caffeine.
Well, we are finishing. with an industry that has gone through so many changes, I don't even know where to start. And yet, somehow, Intel always staying in front. So share a little bit about the industry, the challenges, and how you're doing it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for inviting me to share with this great audience. Congratulations for first quarter results so fast.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know, we did announce our earnings last night.
See, their stock's still up.
9 days after the quarter closed because of Fusion. So thank you for giving me the chance to
Exactly.
to share a little.
Now, just to let you know a little bit about the industry. As you mentioned,
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
we've
Their
been
stock is up
going through
11,
many
almost
changes,
12%
not only
today.
technological, also regulatory ones.
Good for them.
And from going to voice, to data, to E, 3G, 4G, copper, fiber, everything. We actually compete in one of the, what's important, our country is, it's very advanced in telecom. We are in the last quartile in terms of GDP per capita. However, we are in the first quartile in many of the measures of telecom. I don't know, data usage in mobile, fiber penetration, the mobile penetration, everything measured one take. We compete in two countries, Peru and Chile, where we have 4 competitors, mobile, that is a lot for a mobile industry. And but we're proud what we've been doing. I mean, Intel is a medium-sized company, 3 billion revenues, 20 million customers. But I would
Years
say
and
the
years
important
ago,
thing
there
about
was a
Intel,
thought leader,
we've been
and I
trying
want to say she was
always
from Intel,
anticipating and pushing for
CRM.
changes.
I
If
can't
you
think of her
don't
name
push
now, but she was
changes,
kind of brilliant,
changes will push
and she was a
you
real thought leader in
and
the
will become a
CRM
laggard.
space. I'm completely
And
blocking
that
her
has
name now.
allows us to
Great person
remain
too.
leaders in revenue share in Chile,
God,
close to the leader in Peru, NPS leaders in both countries. We're very proud of that. And our challenge is maybe not be the largest, but always be the most advanced.
I mean, you've said it. You've said so much, even just in answering my first question. First of all, NPS, net promoter scores. What does that mean? Your customers love you. Okay, again, something we keep hearing. We've heard it all day. Getting to yes. How do we make them happy? But the other thing that we've been talking about is getting ahead of it. Time is of the essence. If you don't get ahead, you're going to be left behind. And whatever industry, especially in an industry changing so quickly, you really don't have a minute to rest. And I think, when you think about your digital and business transformation over the past few years, I mean, tell us some of the levers for success and some of the results you can highlight, because everyone in this room is thinking about that right now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, is understanding that there's no like one transformation. It's a never-ending story, and you really have to take it that and assume it and move it into your organization. Second, anticipation, anticipation. Otherwise, you will be laggards. Third, I would say, is to have a bold purpose and strategy. Let me pinpoint a couple of points there. We believe that we are guys that bring technology and transform them in extraordinary service to transform people's lives. That's how we see us. And culture. Culture, crazy about customer experience. That's very, very important. Of course, we have to have a digital strategy. And for that, I would say 3 points. First, top management ownership. Not only pushing, but embracing it, moving forward. Of course, open architecture, API layers, and whatever, all the things that you need. And last but not least, great partners committed to us, to our success. And that's very important. Few results. I mean, we moved IT spending from 0% to 25% under the control of the business units. That's very, very important. Second, we've moved almost 90% of our workloads to cloud, which is critical. We will talk a little bit later. And as I mentioned, you a few other measures that allows us. But the important things that brings results, business results.
Business.
With enabled by IT, we've been able to regain 5 percentage points of revenue share. We've been able to improve our NPS gap against our followers in 10 points. And most of all, we lead on return on assets with 10% points above the rest of the industry. That's it.
That's it. That's everything. Happier customers, more profitable, doing more, spending less. But I want to dig into some of the things you said, because what you said is it's about the business. IT makes it happen, but it's about making sure there's leadership and accountability so that the businesses are deciding what do they need, how do they want to invest, and they are, in fact, the beneficiaries. You mentioned partnership, like with us. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the importance of partnership and sort of the benefits of how you feel things going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, as I mentioned, a partnership commitment is great. I mean, from you, Safra, to the last member of Oracle, Luis Mays in Latin America, a great guy, and always together, always with the common goal, our success. That's critical. We've done an important transition to cloud, which it of course brings lower cost, higher performance, but most of it transformed the business model. It makes people in charge of IT, of digital, and simplicity, agility, and flexibility. That's critical. And we believe that cloud has enabled to push that forward.
See, again, to points you keep making, culture, the people, the customers, everyone, you're hearing the exact same thing. These are the ways to success. They lead to our success. They lead to your success. But don't think, again, you're getting off this stage without talking about AI and the future, because you're leading it. So we'd like to hear your thoughts on how it changes your industry.
One important thing we did was to launch recently a digital business unit for B2B that we're partnering in several products with you, NetSuite, cloud, migrations, cybersecurity. We believe that that's an area of growth. And there, AI is very critical to help our customers to push with AI. But again, the most important thing of AI is not the technology. The technology will be there for everyone. What is important is the business guy take it and push it forward with courage to use it. For example, we've been using it for credit scoring, for improving our assessment of the network quality, so we predict churn rates. We have 60% lower churn rate than our competition, and to allocate investments better. We have a bunch of use cases in different stages, and we are very excited about it. All of us, we don't know where we'll take it, but we know we have to be there, pushing forward, ahead, and anticipate.
See, everything I'm hearing, and I'm sure everyone's getting, is that ultimately this is about courage. This is about taking advantage of everything you can and using it and getting ahead of it. And ultimately, it's about leadership, courage in leadership. And I want to thank you for everything you're doing with us. And so focus on your customer, build a culture, and be courageous. And you're going to be as successful as you all. So thank
We
you.
hope we will remain like that. With
Thank
your
you.
help.
Oh, you bet.
With your
You
help.
bet. You bet. Count on it. Thank you. Okay. Well, I think you've heard me summarize this entire time. Technology, partnership, customers, getting to yes. My team knows that. I have a term. I say, just say yes. And it is all about making sure you're absorbing that technology and using it so that you can benefit from it ahead of your competitors. You can serve your customers better, you can partner better, and you can work with your employees in a much better way. Thank you. Enjoy CloudWorld. Thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you.
All right. Let me bring that down there.
All right.
So, any thoughts before we end and go to something else?
You guys?
Come back at 1.
Well, I'd like to thank her for her thoughts on partnership and her leadership in that regard. I don't know, guys. I really thought it's one thing to bring customers out to really kind of showcase the amazing things they've done. That's usually why you bring a customer out on stage. And we really didn't even get a taste of that for these companies. You could bring them out and say that they're a great partner with you. But let's face it, when you have tens of thousands of customers, you're only going to have a handful of really strategic partnerships out there. And the rest of the audience isn't going to be able to, take advantage of the full benefits possible with a great partnership. I like in these kind of software stories on partnerships, kind of like the junk emails I get from airlines about, Brian, we really value you as a cubic zirconia member of our frequent flyer. And all the benefits that accrues. Vendors see they see prospects as just that, prospects. That is a bank account to wallet frac. That is a way to get to the President's Club in Hawaii in Christmas. So call me a bit cynical, but I've negotiated enough contracts with clients and software vendors where it's transactional. It's down and dirty about the money. And I even advise clients, like, don't believe the smoke and mirrors about how they want to partner with you in this loving, warm embrace. At the same time, they're extracting all kinds of usage fees, toll charges, egress, fees, and. I find it really hard to find and believe any story of partnership. Call me a real first-class cynic, but those are about as rare as hen's teeth, if you ask me. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, I think it's very interesting that partnering is such a big theme, and you just have to wonder, Oracle has historically had a reputation of being very hard to work with, right? So there's a lot of focus on how much we should talk about how much our customers like us and want to be on stage with us. But the customer success, yes, they're making investments there, but it's also a revenue generator for them.
Of course. I mean, I look, to both your points and also to the earlier point of meaningful themes. Look, there was nothing on that stage, but as we back channel discussed the talk show. Basically, it was like a talk show, and which is unfortunate.
Those could have been anyone's customers,
right? And and sometimes they are other people's customers. We've seen companies like that before. They're on 2 or 3 stages for different reasons, perhaps, but. The partnership theme was obviously the key theme. And on the positive side with Oracle, that is a evolution for them in general, right, over the years. I mean, look, I used to hate Oracle. I mean, literally hate the company. And I physically threw them out of meetings and things like that. So, and I now kind of I admire a lot of what they do, and I like a lot of the people I know, and I think Redwood has not just transformed the look and feel of the product, but the actual culture of the company to some degree. And I see this as a positive general theme. That said, there's a limit to how much of this is really valuable to hear. And it goes kind of to Brian's point too, which is it is hard to believe that they truly partner and that, if there was, let's say, a monetary issue in between, that partnership would hold up very long. So it's great, and it's good for Oracle's culture to actually grow and evolve, and it's to their credit. And I think the other thing they were establishing was we are big and we do big things. And if Larry, the one thing, well, this will end up being a little more valuable to me, I think, is if Larry carries that forward in the way that he did last year. Okay, if he does that, then that bigness thing, like we are solving big problems, or trying to solve big problems in agriculture and health, if you remember last year, there might be some value to what we just heard, given that there are companies that are doing this. That said, honestly, it was just way too much of it. And one, and two, to, all our points, the lack of energy was just palpable. So
here's the problem with, I share your perspective about what they were like in the past. I get it. I really do. And I've had lots of clients over the years who used to tell me things like, I don't care who you recommend we should look at, like for new application software, it just won't be. And you can guess the vendor they would throw out there. I don't think having an Oracle executive tell us about partnership is really the right way to go from a messaging deal. Rather, this should be almost exclusively by the deeds and acts as told of Oracle, as told by customers,
right.
Not, so we want to hear, I think the audience wants to hear these surprising stories, whether they're older ones from the pandemic about how Oracle bent over backward to help out somebody, didn't rake them over the coals because of some contractual matters that were no longer relevant or possible for somebody. But something, you can, saying partnership but not giving us any kind of experiential underpinning
right.
of what made it a partnership. I don't know. It's like who you pick to be your partner in life is based on a lot of different things. It's not based on a single transaction or event. Well, for most people at least.
Right.
Anyway.
Unless you're a celebrity and signing prenups. Right. But, well, I mean, again, to your point, I agree. Ultimately, the customers, it was a big kumbaya session, really, and that got in its own weird way. It was basically, hi, thank you, right? And it was like, that was pretty much what happened. But at the same time, I found a couple of them. I found the CIA example interesting, not the detail, because there wasn't any. And I found the Cloudflare one actually probably the most engaging in terms of one that made sense. And at the same time, Brian, I am now, thanks to you triggering it, I am now saying Oracle acquire Cloudflare. It's a good acquisition, right? It'll be a good acquisition for you. And it really probably would be. But I got that. And I actually understood that synergy. And that may just be me. I understood that synergy better than anything else that was presented on stage. It made sense. And I could, I guess, thanks to the way Michelle Z, I don't remember her actual last name, but presented, I could sense the relationship's actuality, I guess is the way to put it. I got it. And so that example kind of was valuable to me. And beyond that, interesting, yes, big, yes, meaningful themes, but the energy level, the lack of a framework, it wasn't there. So, Brent?
Yeah.
I think too, even a great question to ask each of the customers, to Brian's point, could have been, what's one example of how Oracle went above and beyond in helping you be successful? Right? Like if they're a great partner, every single one of those customers should have been able to answer that question, and that would have been interesting.
Or the negative part, which, okay, I imagine you've had problems with us at some point. How do we resolve it together? Right?
Yeah.
That would have been nice to hear. I never hear that from any vendor, though, so I'm not particularly placing the onus on Oracle on that one. So
Right.
That's because it's like lawyer training. You never ask a question that you don't already know the answer
Right.
to. And they may not want to know that answer or have it publicly.
But the customers in the audience would be valuable.
I think
No,
I'll just throw a couple of things out there.
let's think.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, I think there's kind of a huge lost opportunity sometimes in these things, and one of the things that they talked about, in the analyst thing yesterday was, this partnership with Salesforce. Now think about how back in the day, Larry used to speak at Dreamforce and Mark used to speak at Open World, and then how it ended, and then that whole thing about Larry just or decided not to let Mark come, and then he built up his own little thing and people scurried for that. Just imagine if they could have done something that played off of that to say, hey, we're back in business with Salesforce, and Mark comes out on stage.
Yeah.
You know how many people would remember this keynote and say, oh man, remember what happened at that keynote? Because what are they going to say they remember about this keynote a year from now?
Well, nothing.
And that's the point. This could have been a really, it feels like, I'm not bashing. It's just like, it feels like, because she did a great job and the interviews were interesting. There's probably a little too many of them for a 60-minute opening, because it was like nonstop. And I think it's time to take more of a TV show kind of approach to doing these things, where you mix. I mean, the pandemic kind of changed the way that we want to experience stuff, and it's not just a passive watching. I mean, the audience was almost like kind of like a prop, because they didn't engage them at all, really. And there's some opportunities to do that. So I think, and it's just not a Oracle thing. I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of these keynotes to be more like what people are watching when they're at home, because that keeps us engaged. And so I think there's that, and that could have been really cool to have some sort of aid. It ended kind of a rough 10 years ago, but now look at this, and they come out and they actually talk about the partnership. That would have been really interesting, and it kind of would have led into what Larry does, because we know Larry he has his own thing. He needs his own time to do what he does, and that's why I kind of look at this might be part A of the overall keynote, and Safra does what she does, and then Larry does what he does. But it just feels like there's a missed opportunity to bring some life and some engagement into this first part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I look, I don't want to denigrate Oracle. Again, they have come so far since the day where Anthony Lai once contacted me many years ago, and he used to run Oracle CRM. For those of you who don't know who he is, this is years ago, decade plus. And he said, I want to talk to you. And I said, okay, I'm happy to talk to you, but you do know I hate Oracle, right? And he said, yeah, I know, right? And we talked. And from that day on, basically, I've started seeing the company. And then, I had a conversation with this guy who used to work at Oracle, who ran kind of the service that helped for innovation. They had Brian Kern. He lives near me, and we used to sit on airplanes together a lot. And so we became friends. And he told me one day, years ago, how Oracle has finally got to the point where they're not going to say yes to everything the customer thinks they need. They'll actually say no to things the customer needs too. And I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, it's changing internally. And that was the first signs of any internal change I even heard. And Brian is a guy I totally trust. and still do. He's no longer at Oracle; he's moved on. But I've seen that evolution, and and with Rob at CX and so on, I really do admire a lot of what they've done, and I honestly love, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I honestly, because I mentioned it 2 or 3 times already, but I honestly love the strategy they have with the cloud right now. I love the fact that they connected with the 3 majors besides, and they've actually, the way they've kind of created their role in that is, to me, a phenomenally smart move.
Well, wouldn't that have been a great thing to bring in opening keynote here? Like,
have a customer, the 3 cloud guys come on
that
to talk
been
with
great.
them. I mean, something like that. I think it's brilliant, really, and I think it's absolutely. They're not competing anymore. How many years ago was when Larry was attacking all of these guys, and then that one year where he said, "Our great partner Microsoft," and we're like, "Oh yeah, what? Huh?" Right.
That would have been really great to put into her part. Yeah. And then let Larry do what he does, because he doesn't really need that.
There's some brilliance in the company,
the other thing too, and I know they don't want to talk product too much in Keynote, but just throwing up that slide with the 100 AI agents Oracle's delivering that go cross-platform to talk about the power of having everything on one infrastructure from a data perspective.
Yeah. Well, again, platform was ignored other than the cloud-ish. I think they mentioned the AWS thing, but that was it.
Yes.
Right. But it was, other than that, platform itself was completely ignored.
It's got to be a really hard thing because they do so many things and they have so much news, and to try to fit it into, I guess they're divvying it up into the keynotes because, beyond what Safra does and what Larry does, they have tomorrow like a whole slew of keynotes that are more product related. But there just feels like there could have been they could have put some more things into hers, and then there was really no kind of handoff to Larry. We all know what he's going to do, but it would have been kind of nice to have some kind of like lead in for that. And it just feels like it was good, but there were some opportunities to make it really good.
It was kind of meh all in all. I'd say, even though again, Safra's a really good interviewer. She just knows how to do it. And the other thing, to your point of so many things they're doing, without going into detail on what was on it, I printed out all the when we got all the announcements a few days ago. I printed it out to read on the plane, and I printed it out. It was 16 pages, right, of announcements. 16 printed pages of announcements, which is a lot of announcements, right? Usually it's 3 or 4, not 16. This was 16 pages, thick, right? So we had a mini book of announcements that these guys have out there. And interestingly enough, there wasn't a single one of them mentioned, other than the AWS thing, right? Mentioned in Safra's keynote, not a one.
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of hard to pull all this stuff together.
I agree.
So let's just say this to all of you: I think the really, really, really big headline that gets lost all the way around is that the typical company, the tech buyer out there, may not realize just not only how massive Oracle's gotten from a footprint perspective.
Right.
And second is that, let's concede that it would be difficult to put together a show that hits and gives equal time to every aspect of it.
Right. Impossible.
So let's stipulate that. But then let's also talk about how Oracle's competitors are in a tough spot.
Yeah.
Because who else could pull the 3-in-1 kind of or 4-in-1 kind of cloud hyperscaler kind of situation? Hard to do that, and to have a really nice viable platform and. So
I agree with you.
It makes you. I know we were all throwing in our asides and recommendations throughout all this broadcast, but the bottom line is I can't think of a vendor in the app space that's got anywhere near a chance of trying to dethrone Oracle.
And I agree with you 1,000% on that. 1,000%.
How do they say it? They go from bare metal to like business applications, and now I guess beyond that. I mean, there's no other company that can compete.
They are as complete a company as you're going to get in the world of business technology in terms of what they can offer. Look, people say, well, what about SAP? Well, they don't have the hardware. They don't have a CX offering where it's crap, right? I mean, so, they're nowhere near Oracle in that regard. And then, Salesforce and Microsoft and so on don't pretend to be near Oracle. They're doing different things. Microsoft's is AI now, and they're shifting that way, and everything is being encompassed. And Salesforce is not, Salesforce is kind of being data and AI now, and that's kind of where they're going. But Oracle is still saying we're end-to-end everything, and they actually, to their huge credit, can prove it if they want to.
Yeah, they're at a point where, let me turn around on all three of you. If you were going to start up an apps company, you're going to be a CEO, going to raise some venture capital, go do your thing. What is your exit strategy? If it isn't eventually to get acquired by Oracle, then what else are you going to do? Because you're never going to be able to match them on everything from having data centers all over the world, and hyperscaler technology and database technology, and. I mean, that's a huge bill of materials you're going to have to pull together over time if you want to be a big standalone competitor to Oracle. If not, then your only choice is to create a company and flip it into somebody else's that maybe has a chance of getting some market share. And I'm not sure who those are.
You know what would have been a nice addition to what we just sat through is seeing like the progression of what's going on with Cerner and how they are using all their technologies in this one industry bucket, which they bought for $30 billion. That would have been something to piece into this part of this keynote, because that's something that nobody else can even speak to doing.
I think Larry's going to go there.
I think Larry's going to go there too, but I think one of the interesting things could have been too to talk about, and they talked about this a little bit yesterday, about how they're using capabilities developed in one industry to be cutting edge in another industry, like the clinical digital assistant that started the CX summaries. Right? There's no better way to articulate the breadth of what Oracle does by saying, look, we take it from industry over here and adapt it to industry over here.
Their actual industry strategy is spot on right now. And I wouldn't have said that a year ago necessarily. I would have thought it was perfectly all right, but right now it's spot on. And the other thing, just given, at least, especially Brent and I's overall focus, their CX products are really good. Like they're really, really, really good. They're not just, when you look at Fusion marketing and Fusion sales, they're actually top of the line, really. I mean, what they do and their integration is the first brilliant integration I've seen when it comes to the alignment of sales and marketing, when it comes to the product side. Salesforce had that product they used to call Engage, which was okay, but it was, it was the wrong name, totally wrong name for it, completely. But at the same time, it was just, compared to what Oracle's done, it's just another.
Well, they did the analyst day yesterday. The lady that was, I think she was, I forget what her title was, but she talked about how they grew from 260 to 260,000 or somewhere about that. And I don't know if she was talking about the assistant itself, but they could have found a way to work that story in about the assistant, because that is really compelling.
You're not kidding. And by the way, we're not under NDA for all of that anymore, are we?
I don't know.
We probably want to know.
They announced all that stuff. I'm not going into specifics about it.
Yeah.
But that could have been something that really would have been a highlight to this particular part of the keynote.
I agree. I think Larry's going to bring in Cerner because that's kind of his baby. Yeah, I really do think and last year the way he did it was great. And the way he did that agricultural, what do you call it? It was indoor. That thing he did last year. Yeah, that was fantastic. I mean,
give her something to announce.
Yeah.
I think it would have been nice if she had something to announce as part of her. I mean, the stories were good, but something that is brand new would have been a nice addition to what she was doing.
So Brent brought up Mark Benioff a little while ago, and I was going to say Benioff's signature cool thing that he would do at Dreamforce is to walk around the audience.
Yep.
And he stops and recognizes customers, shakes their hand, says hello. He's always got his pockets full of crap from, of what some customer gave him. I remember one time he was walking around with a Sonic Care toothbrush. But what it does, it has this energizing quality on the audience. Nobody knows who he's going to stop and talk to.
Right.
And he could even just walk up and introduce himself to some, person that he's never met before. And then, of course, occasionally he'll find somebody, like a rapper in the audience and invite him up on stage with him. And I know all that's pre-planned, or some of that's pre-planned. But the idea of walking through an audience, I mean, that's a technique I've used many times in a keynote. And if Safra had done that, she could have recognized a whole bunch of other customers when you're talking about from a partnership perspective.
Well, it was very right? I mean, it was very general stuff. Again, her job was, as far as I think she and the events team planned it, was interview these people, right? And they followed that theme. It went around the world, and everyone was kind of at some variance of from what the other ones did. So they represented different segments, and they represented different age groups, and they were obviously carefully curated for many, many different things and chosen accordingly. And the stories were, kind of general, but they were, the people, depending on the individual, they were either engaging or not, but it wasn't enough really to establish what needed to be established from the standpoint of what a conference is good for, which is what you've heard me say this a million times, which is, and it goes to what Brent said earlier, which is a year from now, when somebody says, what did they talk about the conference? The person, if he says, well, or he or she says, well, I don't know, but it was a great conference, then they did their job. It's how you come out feeling about the conference a lot more than what you remember about it, because there's way too many points being thrown at you during a conference to remember very much of it. And that happens all the time. So conferences, the value of a conference gives you energy for a whole year until the next one, in the manner of speaking, ultimately. I mean, should they remember things? That would be nice, and it would be great. And at the workshops and things like that, of course, they're going to remember things they learned because they went there to learn it. But I'm just saying, very generally, if they really enjoyed the conference, they felt good about the company who held the conference, then the conference still did its job, even if they don't remember the details of the conference.
All right. Well, we better wrap this up because we actually will be back in a little over 2 hours for Larry's keynote, which
Brian, you're welcome back if you want to come.
If he does anything like he did last year, it's going to really be interesting.
Yeah, that was the best keynote he ever gave. Yeah, it was fantastic.
We will see you guys in a little over 2 hours.
All right.
Yeah.